So a bit of introduction, though I already posted about Professor Sinha, Professor Sunil Sinha. Sunil is a tenured professor of civil and environmental engineering at Virginia Tech University. He is the director of the Sustainable Water Infrastructure Management Center. He has a dual degree in civil and environmental engineering and systems design engineering. He has good work experience in the industry, and he guides a lot of interdisciplinary research for his students. Um, he has also been a seat behind a public broadcasting service multimedia documentary, which was titled as Liquid Assets. And I understand that documentary is a story of water infrastructure that throws light on a long buried problem of America, which is using utilization of America's aging water system. So, besides this, Sunil has been very keenly involved in various US and United Nation based programs. He keeps visiting India. He is adjunct faculty at various IITs, including his own alma mater, VIT Mesra, and he has been doing a lot of work to facilitate many climate and environment related research. So, over to you, Sunil. I'll
Okay,
take over.
thank you. Thanks, Asod, and thanks everyone for inviting me. It's always good to meet with. It's a small world, like Sarita, and we talked about Pittsburgh. I didn't know. See, I used to visit Pittsburgh a lot when I was at Penn State University. So what I'm going to do is, I didn't know the audience and this. So what? It's not a formal. You can stop me anytime. I do have slides. So I want to give you my vision where I see the world is, because I'm not a young assistant professor anymore. I have come to a stage like in academic, as you know, once you become a full professor, most of my time goes in serving in the national committees. I am member of, right now I'm member of two White House committees. One is related with natural capital accounting, which is looking at the GDP. That is also push is coming from United Nations, and I will talk in my presentation about that. The second committee I'm leading is this whole climate change. Now that language can change. We were talking earlier based on who comes in the White House, uh, uh, but we don't get involved into politics because we are academic. But we still have to listen to the political environment. If they are saying climate change, change the word. So we use the word like extreme events and all those. So I'm in the committee looking into that, because climate is creating an issue. Whether you believe it or not, climate change, that can still be a debate, especially in US. But we are seeing the pattern. Science is there. So we cannot deny the fact. We cannot live in a state of denial. So my talk is more like a thought provoking and giving you that what and more discussion instead of just presenting. So I want to spend more time in how I can help, how I can contribute for the society, so that it can make an impact. That's my key vision is, and that's what Asutosh mentioned, documentary. A lot of people don't make documentaries, so I will talk a little bit about documentary. And we are also under production of a new documentary, which I'm trying to make exactly about the climate change and how climate change is going to impact every country in the world, not just US. So let me share my screen so that I can be more productive in that way, and this slide will be available to all of you. So let me ask you, because we don't use Team a lot, most of the time we use Zoom, but we have access to Teams, Cisco, all those WebEx. So can you see my screen or slide?
Yes, yes, Sunil, we
Okay,
can see your
okay,
slides clearly.
okay, okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Okay, perfect. So the title, I didn't know the audience and all those, so I put the title. I'm also, as I mentioned earlier, I'm part of the climate change committee for the Paris Agreement. So I serve in a lot of national, international committees for a long time in this area. So what I'm going to talk is will be not just related with climate change. We need to see. And Asutosh mentioned my dual degree PhD I did in computer science, mainly to AI. Nobody was talking AI at that time. I did my PhD in 2000, and at that time, and my supervisor did his PhD from MIT Media Lab in 1970s. related to AI, but AI was not the real term. I mean, if you know the whole history of AI, it started with export systems. So AI was not really in that limelight at that time, but looks to me, my supervisor was very visionary. He said, Sunil, do PhD in AI. My supervisor from civil engineering. So I got dual degree. I got in civil engineering also PhD, and then I got PhD in computer science also, two PhDs, dual what they call. But now they have changed the rule, so I slipped through the crack because now they want a two separate committee. If you want two PhDs, then you have to have two separate committee. I'm not saying still it can be done, but now dealing with one committee is a nightmare, and now you have to deal with two committee. But anyway, I was the first, I believe, in the pass through with the one committee. So I'm going to talk about not just the physical system, which is like all this infrastructure we built, but also the data science, AI, the role it's playing. AI is not going anywhere. It is becoming, and everyone need to align. So just like climate change, AI is going to stay. But we have to be careful. AI is not a magic. And same thing like how it can provide the communities. So that's what my talk will be. Again, you can stop me anytime. I don't want this to be like a formal presentation. So uh, before I go and talk about little bit, I always use this slide to give because a lot of time people think professors are very boring. They only just work in the lab. That's not true. We are also human being. I have a family. I have a beautiful wife. She's ophthalmologist, and she also travels a lot. Right now, she's in Japan because she gives a lot of guest lecture to the universities. She is pediatric ophthalmology, so her area is related with eye. She work very closely with Sankar Netralaya, a lot of eye institute in India. Right now, she's working on one of the research. I mean, she does more clinical, but she also does research. So her research is also in AI, looking into the whole eye, glaucoma, and other patterns of the eye, especially in the kids, to detect retinopathy, because a lot of kids, they are born with ROP, and in adult they can go blind. So that kind of a thing. I live in a beautiful, Prakash has visited this place. It's a beautiful mountain area. So I do photography in BIT. I was in a photography club. So looks like some DNA is there. So I do a lot of photography also. I have a motorcycle, as you can see here. I love riding is 1000 cc. My wife hates it, but I sometime I just drive for fun. I don't go to the, I mean, I don't go very often. I have a beautiful dog. Then my son is also at Virginia Tech, the bottom figure. He is also very active. He is doing AI, but his application of AI is more related with automation. So right now he's in Sweden, working with Volvo for automated putting robots, like the robo is also AI infused that. And then if you visit me, Prakash, I didn't take you, we have a place called Appalachian. We are in mountain area, so Appalachian Trail. So a lot of movie was shot there. So that's a hike of 8 miles, and that we shows the fitness, right? So to be fit, we ask people, okay, let's go for a hike. So that's kind of okay. Let me see if I can move my slide. So that's kind of we enjoy, we do. So now coming to academic. So yes, I have done a lot, as you can see here. I throughout my career, I'm in academic. I started my career from Penn State. So right now I'm chair of ASCE. I haven't listed the White House one, but I'm also committee of those, but two committees which I'm heading right now. I am a vice chair and panel member of National Infrastructure Advisory Council. This council was created by White House under DHS, Department of Homeland Security, basically looking at how we built infrastructure. This is for, my grandfather was also civil engineer, so I know all this infrastructure in a good way. I used to have discussion with him. So nothing much have changed. If you carefully look in the civil is not like aerospace industry or other industry. And then, like any professor, I have published a lot in the technical and other publications. I have also graduated a lot of students. That's our job, because that's what we are in academic business. We are not consultants. So that's kind of so. But the other thing which I feel very passionate is giving interviews. I give a lot of interviews. Just recently, when I was India actually, March, Associated Press came with a big article saying Georgia is bleeding to death. and that became a panic in Georgia legislation and all those. I was in India, I was getting email that, oh, you have to come and testify because Georgia, that was Associated Press article. But I didn't say anything wrong. What I said is, when we looked at the Georgia, a lot of utilities, communities in Georgia, they are losing up to 80% water what they withdraw. So they built this system, pipes, pumps, treatment plant, but they didn't maintain. So they are losing a lot of these. They are not sustainable, right? They are going to die. So that was my comment was. But as I said, the press, they make a story, but that's good in a way, because then these elected officials pay attention. So I give a lot of NPR, PBS interviews and a lot of news media and all those. The reason is not to become famous. There is nothing becoming a famous, but to why we are doing this. I mean, that's I always challenge myself why we are doing all these in the research and all those. I am not assistant professor. I am a full tenured professor, so there is no, I'm not going to get any more promoted unless I decide to become dean or something administrative, but that I don't want, because I feel I can contribute more to the society through the research. So that's kind of my game is. So little bit about Canada. Yes, I went to Canada in Waterloo, but carefully look at that. Even in masters, I used AI. Even I didn't realize that my master's thesis is so long that my master's thesis, I used this all neurons and those long back. So if you look at that, masters I did in 1996, 97. So long back, I used this AI. But in my PhD, I really used application, and lot of, if you look at the big companies like Exxon, BP, the big oil company, they are using my algorithm, which I developed during my PhD work. We have patents and all those, but what I developed during my PhD, basically a robo going inside the pipes, miles and miles, oil and Alaskan pipeline and all those, to detect these defects. And I used AI to power this so that learning can take place as this robos is moving. And now the companies, Red Zone Robotics, and is in Pittsburgh. So Red Zone Robotics, I will tell you, this company started in garage. And that's the story of US, right? So I was advisor for these people, because in the garage they were telling me that. So that's why I used to visit Pittsburgh a lot when I was in Penn State, to build these robos so that it can travel autonomous. A lot of they had robos which they have to send by tethered wire and all those, but autonomous, you can send it in the night, it can go walk all miles and miles, and morning it will come out and it can give you all data, because these are all machine learning algorithms, right? So think about this. We were doing this machine learning in around 2001, 2002, when I joined Penn State. That's where I was working. Now these companies are billion-dollar companies, if you look at that. So I have started lot of these companies. I helped them from a scratch, from a garage, actually. So lot of my work is basically looking at the physical digital, because my background is civil engineering, but my now most of my work is data analytics, modeling, decision support. So the key is looking into the whole digital physical world. How we solve these problems are not linear, and especially when you bring the climate change and all those, these are dynamic system. People say that, oh, these are cyclic. It may rain this year, next year it will not. So no, if you look at the pattern over the years, most of the cities, if you look at the philosophy how we design any city, especially in the Western world, is based on 100-year storm event. What that mean is 100-year, you look at the pattern, how much rain, traffic loading, this and that. So, and then you design based on that. But that is not holding true anymore, because 100-year is not making any sense, because all baseline has changed, right? So the sea level rise. A lot of time people say sea level rise, water is coming. That's not true. Water is coming. Yeah, that's the one thing water is. But think in this way. That's the salty water first. The second is that that will change the ecosystem. The mother nature has given us a really good planet, right? And we messed it up. So we are the one. I will give you one short story about this. I was having a conference called NSF. We have NSF, National Science Foundation. They asked me that, Sunil, can you have a visionary event? It's called IRVA, Engineering Research Visionary Event. Can you host this and bring 150 top experts and talk about what is the future of water, what it will look like, what society will get after 10, 20 years based on atmospheric river. Like in California, it rains heavy and then we have drought. Temperature is going in 3 digit, 110, 120. So why can't we capture this? We don't have infrastructure to capture atmospheric river right now. So I invited all those. So my secretary, Kathy, she is my secretary. So she was helping me to organize. It was virtual Zoom meeting, but we had a breakout sessions, this and that. So end of the day after this meeting, I asked Kathy, what do you think? How did it go? So she said, yeah, it went very well. Everything was, but she said, can I ask you one thing? And she is just a secretary, right? She has no background in engineering or any of things. So she, very honest, she asked me, Sunil, can you tell me, you guys were talking about colonizing Mars, because the purpose of this was visionary, right? So anything, so all ideas and all topics were. So one topic also came is, if America wants to colonize Mars, water will be a big deal, right? So you need water, air, water. That's a basic thing. So a lot of discussion was there. She said that, Sunil, I'm not understanding. You guys were talking. You messed up this planet. Now you want to mess up some other. So, so that's true. We are very selfish in a way. The human beings, we just care about ourselves. And I will show you some of the other slide, what I'm learning. So most of my work is now related with policy, because I feel earlier throughout my career, this just started from last 5 years. When I became full professor, but full professor I became in 2012. But little bit time, even if we become full professor. But for last 5 years, what I'm realizing is that lot of policy in this country, especially in US, and same thing will be true in India also and other countries, that in US lot of policies are not right, right? So lot of work we do, lot of professors, and we feel very passionate what we do, but we don't inform the policies and law, because we don't care, or we don't pay interest in. But we have to pay interest in politics and the elected official, otherwise societal impact will not come. I have a swim center. I will not go into the detail, but swim center is basically created. I created this center when I moved from Penn State to Virginia Tech. We have a lot of students, a lot of faculty, a lot of Indian faculty come and visit me here in the swim. So it is funded by federal EPA, US EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. So I will not go in a lot of these slides. You will have access to this slide, but these are billboards. These are cut and paste anyway. You can find these. That if you carefully look at climate change, the major impact is water related. Water is not causing climate change, we need to understand, but impact is all related with more water, no water, even temperature. Lot of migration is taking place from Latin American countries because they can't live there anymore. And some places, like even in US, some islands, they are getting totally inundated with these waters because the sea level is rising, and you cannot stop it. There's no way we can stop the sea level rise, even if US decides to create a kind of a wall or boundary. Those are temporary. Those are not going to provide a permanent solution to it. So what's the solution? And if you carefully look at that, US is a developed country, but India will become a developed country at some point, right? And they are in the path of that. Or any developing country, they will become like US or any Western country. Your cost will go high, right? Right now, it's not that, because you are still developing. But in US, any hurricane comes or any kind of a disaster, the cost price tag is billions of dollars, right? So that is we will go bankrupt. We don't have to fight any war with anyone. We have to fight a war with Mother Nature in a way. So Mother Nature war, we are not going to win. Everyone knows that, right? So that is the challenge we are facing, and that's where we are looking at. That has become a national security issue for America because of these disasters. Climate change, I'm not talking about man-made disaster. There is a lot of man-made also, but natural disaster itself is going to take America bankrupt. Because every time when this disaster hits, and you cannot ignore it, right? How can you ignore if somebody is dying and all those? I mean, you have to go and rescue them. We cannot make a policy, and that's another problem. We cannot make a policy that you cannot live in Florida, right? But that policy will not work. People wants to live in paradise. They want to live in there, but one hurricane comes, all houses are gone, this and that. I mean, if you are rich like Trump and all those, then yeah, then you can afford two houses, five houses. But a lot of these people have worked throughout their life, saved the money, and now they want to retire, and pass rest of their life in Florida, and that house is gone. So that's kind of the challenge we are facing. So we need to understand. So I will not go into a lot of mathematicals and all those, but it is a very complex problem to solve. Why? Because it's not one dimensional. There is a natural, which is dynamic in nature. All these are dynamic in nature, is not a static. Then comes the whole build system, how we built and all those, a lot of policies and those are involved. And then there is a society, right? And the people. But when we say community, I don't want just we care about the people. What about species and other also, right? We need to care about them also. Fish is not going to come and fight us in the court, right? Because they don't have voice. So that environmentalist, ecologist, they will come into play. So when I'm talking about this, there are many actors are here, right? In America is a litigated society. So any kind of a policy change and all those will take a lot of efforts and all those before we can make any changes. So coming to the society, and this is what I'm telling India. I was in India in March. I visited, I gave guest lecture, I met with many Indian government officials. That infrastructure, when we built these infrastructure, we only built run to fail kind. That's the philosophy that was in US also before 1990, when the law came here that no more, you cannot just build a system and run to fail. Run to fail will not work. I will tell you, it will become a burden on society. When we say rebuild America, that doesn't mean building from scratch. We need to understand, if you want to build everything like a Los Angeles, big city, small city maybe, but a big city, economy will never come back. We have done the study. One of my PhD student has done a study like Los Angeles. If earthquake of 8.5 will come, their economy will take years and years to recover, right? Because a lot of things, the water supply, electric supply, all those will be down for months. And to bring that, I'm talking about 8.5. If it 9 comes, who knows? I don't even know the boundary condition of earthquake 9, what will happen. So that we have to keep in mind, all these scenarios, how we build this. One thing I always put this in the class also, I'm not trying to teach you guys here anything, but keep in mind, people like simple, that I have seen elected officials and any government officials like IS in India. We don't have that system in US, but in India and all those, these people, they want a simple everything explain. They don't want all these mathematical functions and all those in a very simple. But we need to understand, I showed you this slide. The Einstein has said that, and that is so true. Make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. So what that mean? That mean is that yes, we want to make it simple so that people can understand, not make it too complex so that even we modeler don't understand. But at the same time, don't make it too linear, just like your body. If somebody is telling me that, Sunil, keep running, your health will be fine. No, that's just one aspect of that. Or just checking your blood pressure, you will be fine. I relate something with my medical, my wife influence, but that's not true if you carefully look at that. So same thing, this philosophy is very, very important to keep in mind. And that relates to what kind of data we collect, what kind of system. What I meant by system here is it can be a city, town, or country, or planet, right? Planet is also a system, but the scale is big. I mean, we cannot solve planet problem like climate change because policies in China is very different than policies in other countries. So that coming to disaster, we need to look into disaster. These are just natural. I'm not talking man-made. I don't want to make it complicated, but just the natural disaster is also not same. And now what we are seeing is this is from the NOAA, but if you carefully look at in US different parts, so a lot of Virginia and all those will claim, oh, we don't have to care about earthquake and all those kind of thing. Although earthquake is not climate related, but still it's a natural disaster. But the challenge what we are facing now is that the frequency has changed and intensity has changed. What that means is Earlier, why I care? If a tornado is coming 1 in 100 year event or 1 in 50 year event, that's fine. But now we are seeing it's coming twice a year or 3 times a year, and frequency has also changed. Earlier it was in the scale of 1 to 2, or hurricane in the scale of level 1 or level 2. Now it is coming at the level of 3, 4, or 5 even, right? So intensity has changed, frequency has changed, and that is creating a lot of issues and problem to face, because it's all matter of, in the end, comes down to resources. Do we have, and resources, when I say resources, it's not just the money. A lot of people have money, but resources is also manpower, equipment, material. These are not, you can go to the grocery store and you can buy these equipments and all those kind of things. So that is also is important. Other is also important is these are not isolated. Lot of time we, like US, realized this in 1990, that this infrastructure is not in isolation. We govern in isolation, like water board will be there, like in India, Jal Shakti is there, then you have transportation, separate, that's fine. But we need to understand that there is a interdependencies, there's a dependencies and interdependencies for all of these systems, which we don't understand, then one system down will affect the other system. So those are also the key. So I will not go into that. Only this slide I put it there to make a case that human beings are the culprit here. So in natural water cycle, no problem, I mean, I can easily solve this. No, it's very simple. School kids can also solve this. But we make it very complicated by all these payments, this infrastructure we built, and population, as you know, in India is more problem, because US is still very big. They have, but in India, a lot of people at the very, so all these people need housing, you need road for transportation, you need car, that multiplies a lot, right? So that is, we need to keep in mind that that disturbs the whole natural cycle. And how we make it back, I don't think so. The damage is already done, so we are in a crisis mode right now. So that in the discussion I can bring, there's a lot of theories are there, how we can that, but we messed up big time. So now, just coming even to the water, is very difficult, and water will become an issue. Just pay attention, because even in India, that your water is not, like, a lot of water is contaminated with arsenic and other, right? So I mean, so it's not, don't make it very simple and living in denial. This is what I tell people, that no, then you are not doing justice to your kids and grandkids. Just be honest. Just, yeah, we messed up. Why don't we admit it, that yes, we did? Even in US, that's what we did. But blame game will not work. I mean, yes, accept that, and then move on, and then try to, because if you are not accepting it, just like in a medical, they say first you have to accept it. So that this is the disease, and now we have to fight cancer or whatever. So same thing, these are like cancer in a way. So we have to admit it, and then we need to accept it and take ownership, that so that we can make a difference for our kids and grandkids. That's all we can do right now. We cannot go back in time, but history is important. I never cared about history, honestly, but now I'm seeing history is very important, because that gives you a pattern, that gives you that what, so that you can learn from that and don't make the same mistake. The thing is, what I'm realizing now in my career is that we as a human being, we are very good in domains, and that's what we have structured. Like if you look even BIT or any IITs, we are very siloed. Like civil engineering department, chemical engineering department, mechanical engineering department, electrical department, even engineering. Think about engineering. Do you think the real world problem is just engineering? No. It's all of the above. It's engineering, social science, medical, everything, because the people living in needs everything, not just engineering things. And engineers are kind of they feel that they can build a city in the ocean. Yeah, that's not a problem, you can build, but can you sustain that? And what is the consequence of that? So the intersection is the biggest problem, what I'm seeing in now. That, yeah, individually social scientists are doing great job in their natural people who deals with the nature, they are doing great job. People in the engineering or build system side, they are doing great job. But problem is, it's not in siloed. You need to look into the intersection of these. The other thing what I'm telling to India is, they are coming with, when I went in March to India, their building infrastructure is everywhere, right? Everywhere construction is going on. but they need to pay attention that why you are building this, what is your end game plan is that after 50 years we rebuild again, because the way they are building is they are not considering any of these issues of sustainability and resilience or even performance. They just want to build so that this infrastructure is there and it can perform, right? So that concept will not work very well. You need to change your culture and mindset. And that's what I told to Indian government also, that learn from Western country. There's nothing wrong in learning from the Western country. They realized this. I mean, US realized in 1990. That's why they brought a law that no, you cannot just build this infrastructure and let it run to fail, right? You first of all you need to think right from the day one sustainability when you are building it, and how also resiliency component to it. So there are three part of this whole thing. That is also three dimensional. One is you are building this infrastructure to perform. Okay, what is the function of performance? The function of performance is not just physical infrastructure like a bridge. Yes, bridge can be physically, it can be fine, but functionally it can be obsolete. If that bridge is taking 5 hours to cross in America, we consider a failure, period. Even if that bridge is fine, that no, or a tunnel. That's so that other thing also we need to consider is that can we sustain this bridge for generation after generation, not just for 50 years and then put it down, build it back again. That is not going to sustain your economy for a bigger part, because society will not accept that once you become at that level. So that concept is very very important for Indian government or Indian officials to understand, and that's why we are partnering. I will show you in some slide. USAID project we got is, so basically philosophy, I will not go into that, but you have to maintain certain level of service, just like you have to maintain your health. Think in this way: infrastructure will age, but it has to age healthy, right? That's the whole trick. Just like you will age, but you have to age healthy. That's all the trick is. And that is based on the bottom line, what we call the dotted line you are seeing. That concept came in 1990 in US, all Western countries, that no, you cannot let any infrastructure touch that. So just like your health, yes, your blood pressure is going, your doctor will say, okay, 140 is fine, we can monitor it, maybe exercise, but once it is going 150 range, 160 range, maybe medicine you start, like those kinds. So same thing with infrastructure. You need to intervene. You cannot just build it and let it run to fail. That's not going to work. And the other part is also resilience, that how we build resilience, because climate is baseline is changing, right? What you designed 60 years back is not the same. The parameters are changed, until unless you are assuming all design parameter will remain constant. That's not true, right? So that's the key. So I will little bit briefly go over the water, because I want to give more time in our discussion also. So a lot of work we are doing, you may have heard this lot of terms: smart water, intelligent water, but what really that mean? So we are coming with a framework, and we have to be very careful when we bring technology. It's not about technology, it's a people, process, and technology. Technology alone, we are not trying to develop fully automated. Even fully automated a car from point A to point B, still there is a people, process, and technology is there. So we need to understand, and medical is way advanced in these than our civil infrastructure and all those, like they consider people, process, and technology, because it's in US it's a highly regulated things. So other is also very important is creating databases, lesson learned. Why you don't learn from other world? Even America, they consider themselves as a superpower, although, but a lot of things we do, Australians are way advanced than us, right? So why not learn from them? So creating a knowledge base is also important. I have done this from EPA grant. This is a $7 million grant to create a knowledge base. So these websites are there. Then modeling platform is also very important. Knowledge base is important. What we call in computer science, these are knowledge base. These are not databases. There's no raw data in the general umbrella of databases, but the pipe ID is when Flint happened. Some of in the US, Flint, because the lead poisoning and all those. Then Congress wanted to have all database of pipes so that we don't have second. And that's good. One thing I like in this country is that you get a failure once, then they jump in, everyone jumps in, and we don't want second failure. So that this project came from the Congress to develop a national, and I was the lead on developing this. We are working on the blueprint right now in this country, that how we manage this whole water with climate change. So we are asking $100 million from the NSF, National Science Foundation, to look into from basin scale, not cities and town, but look into basin. Because the problem is, I mean, India is also facing that problem. Some of our basin, like Colorado Basin, that water goes to Mexico. So it's not just matter of America. And a lot of Colorado water goes to California, Los Angeles, and all those, lot of irrigation. So that those all need to be taken into consideration. So I will quickly go into this GDP. So think about GDP. GDP concept came in industrial revolution era when people were producing steel plants, this and that. 21st century, why we are just considering GDP? Every country we compare with GDP. What is your GDP? Look at China. China GDP is good now, it is slowing down even in India. But that is at the cost. If you are polluting your natural, this is bigger part of, I'm just using water here, but United Nation, this is quote from United Nation. United Nation is coming with a natural capital accounting. In GDP, you have to consider natural. Water is one of the natural, but air is another, the other natural resources, which we need to consider. We cannot grow at the cost of natural resources, because that will come and bite you. This is a natural cycle. So this project we are doing, we are really looking at, the slide I'm showing you is only for urban water, but we are doing for irrigation, thermal. So in this country, if I have to present to you guys after 2 years, I can show you each and every drop of water in America. We are going to estimate, account for, this is accounting. We will account and we will budget for who is using water for what purpose. So even for the human use, what we call human use, what you are seeing is from the natural side, which water, surface water, groundwater, and then it moves and treatment, and then it goes to the distribution, and then it goes to the residents. We are now going to estimate in pretty much in real time. We are putting sensors, we are spending millions and millions of dollars. So if you are going to ask me in your house, you can check actually by your phone, cell phone, what water quality you are getting and what your other cities and town they are getting. So we want to be very transparent so that people know that how much water flowing and what rate you are paying. That also we are estimating. What we found in Georgia, that some community with a very low income community, they are paying 4 times more water than the rich community. Can you believe that? In America, some communities, very low income communities, paying 4 times more water than the rich community, which is basically, I will not say all white, but a rich community. So that is very important. But these kind of analysis needs collaboration. And that's what I'm telling India. It's not one university or one agency can do it. It needs the entire village to do this kind of a work, because these are not magic. To develop at the scale of national scale where everyone can check, they can see what water quality they are getting. And this also comes with equity. If you consider this equity, what equity really mean? Why you are providing, because they are the same citizen, right? You are providing water to the same citizen of this country. Why some citizen is getting better quality water, less costly water than other communities? So that kind of a thing. So we are developing a massive, and this will all be AI based. It will learn, because AI needs data. If you carefully look at that, AI is not new, as I told you earlier, but it needs massive. So it will learn pattern, as I can show you. Then it can, and it can keep learning. It's like a child. So as new data sets comes, there is a protocol and all those. I don't want to go in the detail of that. Few slides I have to show you little bit AI, but I don't want to lecture on AI. But AI, we need to be careful. Now, who is the supervisor? Who is training this AI? Chat GPT. You may have used Chat GPT. I don't consider Chat GPT as a real true AI. Those are like a cut and paste machine kind of a thing. What they are doing is, I mean, they use the pre-learning algorithms, but that's the lower end of AI. What we are doing is a middle end of the AI, and the third is, which is the more autonomous and all those, which my son is involved in, that how a robo can behave like a human being. They can go and inspect your house and all those. So that's the third end. And then there is a fourth, which is not in my lifetime, when the machine can become more conscious and they can think that human beings are stupid. Then what happens? So that is the different story. But most of our model is based on, there's a lot of work going on in India also, data driven, knowledge driven. But my approach is you need both data and knowledge for any AI, because I don't buy it that if you are just using data, because knowledge and data need to be integrated. There's a lot of work, but if you integrate, that's why all my model, if you look at my literature, it's all knowledge driven data science model. So I don't use just data or just knowledge. Now, just little bit about that, how you make AI like a machine, like run like a driverless car. Those are considered as a high end of the modeling, which again, I don't want to lecture in all this, but I'm just giving you a flavor. So to do this kind of a work, if you really want that AI to learn weather patterns and understand, we need foundational model, and then you need surrogate models, all these, because climate change is not one thing. Climate change is not just precipitation or rainfall or the temperature. There are many scenarios are there which you need to capture. So those are considered as a surrogate model, and then you can combine. But to do all these, you need massive collaboration from people, process, again, communities, because whom you are developing all this for, community, right? So all the time I'm bringing you human in the loop. Even autonomous, people think autonomous robots and all those, but humans are there in the loop. So that is important concept to understand. Then, just like a physical infrastructure, there's a whole concept of digital resilience. So just like physical resilience, you need to think about digital resilience also, because we are relying on a lot of the digital. So think about two sides of the same coin, physical and digital. I just wanted to put you there. But you need massive infrastructure, and India need to think about it if they want. China is already doing it. So this came to us in last year, Frontier. So Frontier is we spent $700 million. It's a taxpayer money. But now we have the fastest supercomputer in the world, which can do AI within seconds. Earlier in my lab, I will tell you, I showed you some model. It was taking 6 months to get the answer. Like climate change is not that simple, because you are talking a lot of variables and all those. Now in this, when we move to Frontier, it's just taking seconds. So just look at this is a monster, by the way. So look at this. 100,000, your 1 lakh high definition can be streamed within second in this computer. I'm just showing you, we are not allowed to show all the figures. This is just, I took picture, but this is like a 10 football field. So this is a huge breakthrough in US we got by this computer, which we can do at the scale, basically because they were getting pressure from China. So US decided to do. So now I will quickly go into that India. So we luckily this year in March, I'm not this year, we started last year proposal. So we got a grant. Right now, this whole grant is $100 million, by the way, but it will come in pieces. They are not going to sign a check for $100 million. So money is coming from both US AID and India. So this grant is basically came after meeting with PM Modi and Biden G20, which was held in India. So this project is a part collaboration of that. So this project is title is saying higher education partnership for disaster resilient infrastructure, but is bigger than that. Don't get confused with the title. It's not just universities. Yes, we are partnering with IIT Kanpur, IIT Roorkee, and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore right now. And basically, I am the lead here, so I selected this university. And also I selected University of Illinois in US and some local partner. But in India, we will expand. We will reach out to IIT Chennai, because we are in talk with them, because VT India campus is in, we call VT India because we have a campus in India, which is at the campus of Chennai. And then IIT Mumbai, because I have a lot of my colleagues there. Ravi Sinha, I don't know if some of you know, he is, Prakash knows, because his father was in Patna. So Ravi is he's a full professor. He was dean also from IIT Mumbai, so he wants to get involved. So I will expand, and BIT. I'm definitely thinking of getting somehow BIT also. Although you know how the things work in India, most of Indian government side they try to push to go with IITs first, and then because BIT is still a private, but that's not a culture in US. Privates are better in a way. Stanford, MIT, these are all private. But I don't know in India the culture, but that may change. So this project is really good for us. This project will help us. Right now we got money for 5 years for $10 million to work. So we are working very closely. Every month we have meeting, sometimes weekly meeting also to look into it. We understand one size will not fit all. What's working in US, even what's working in US is a big country. What works in Texas will not work in Virginia. Laws are different. The state has a power. So that's what we are looking. So this project is not just for India. Let me give you. This is for global South. So whatever we develop in India, like capacity building, is not a hardcore research here, not really to develop a model, but capacity building training program and all those. But that should be applicable to all countries you are seeing in the red: African, Latin American, all these, not Australia, New Zealand, because they are considered developed countries. These are all developing countries. So it's a wider reach of this project is. And if we are successful, then we go to phase 2, phase 3. So we will be in business for a long time. If we are doing, if we mess up, then that's the end of the story. So what we are trying to do, how to get a healthy and thriving community. So what up till now, what I have told you, that's all I'm going to promote here. That India has to look into little, or not just India, any developing country need to look carefully, not just building this infrastructure, but from sustainability, resiliency point of view, also looking at technology, data, and all those, because they help you in decision making. That's all technology does. Technology is in the support role. Technology will not do magic, but it will help in this. So this is our partnership. This slide I will not go, but one important thing in India is also in developing country is community engagement. We don't want to provide any solution just based on academics, like Indian Institute of Science, IIT Kanpur. We all sit together and say, okay, guys, let's build this. No, we want community to be engaged. We don't want to one-way traffic. That guys, we did this. We built this river or whatever canal system. You have to live with it. No, that is not going to work. We need to understand, just like in a private, right? Customer is the key. So here also we need to think in that way, why we are doing all these to serve the society, right? So society need to be engaged at all levels. So we are paying a lot of attention on that how we promote. We have a lot of good partners in India, and more will join, but we have a lot of infrastructure who builds in India. We also have a lot of good partners in US. As you can see here, a lot of federal agencies involved. So I feel this will have impact in developing countries, whatever we come up with. So now quickly I will go and talk about the documentary, why documentary is important. As I mentioned to you earlier, it's a people. It's all about people. We live in a democratic society. It's not like a communist society where policies and law can be easily passed. So in a democratic society, people need to understand what we are doing. So liquid asset I did when I was at Penn State University, when I was assistant professor. By the way, my department had said, Sunil, don't do this because we don't get tenure based on documentary and all the right. But I said, no, this is my passion. If you don't give me tenure, that's fine. I will go back to, I was thinking of joining World Bank anyway. So I said, I will go back to India. So, but this was so successful, this documentary, that Joe Biden, he was not president at that time, he came to watch this when we premiered in Washington, D.C. Museum. And the congressional committee, Obama, when he was taking oath in the presidency, Obama team, the whole they got like, at that time DVD was very popular. Now nobody uses DVD. So there you can see 15,000 DVD was circulated in the, and a lot of other countries. I didn't develop this documentary, but I did appear in History Channel, Crumbling of America. I appeared as a water to tell the story that what's going on in this country. And uh, this was also is good, but they painted like a kind of a little like a more dramatic. But liquid asset, I can send you the link. If you get time, you can watch it. It's a 90 minutes, it's long, but it comes in a chapter. And but by the way, we covered a lot of Allegheny, Pittsburgh area in this documentary because I was at Penn State at that time. Now I'm making a new documentary. Maybe some of you can participate. This is about climate change. So this is not just documentary. First, we are trying to tell the story is what really people are not understanding this whole climate change. I feel a lot of people think about rain, this and that. So discover the unseen. That's what we will talk about that. Then understanding the challenge. Sea level rise is not just water rising. It's going to kill your entire ecosystem, because these are all your lot of, I will tell you, in Florida, Everglade, if you haven't visited, visit Everglade, because that's not going to last. In 20, 30 years, it will go away because the way sea level is rising. So natural, we are pretty much killing all the natural habitat, and then making a difference. It's not a doomsday scenario. I'm not trying to paint that we are going to die, but it's a tipping point. That's all I can tell you. So this is under production right now. So we are coming with not just this movie for US. We have support from Australian government, Netherlands government. A lot of government is supporting us, and of course, Indian. I was waiting for the new Indian government to take, because people told me, Sunil, just wait until new government, then we will start talking. So I will start discussion with Indian government also. But we are coming with a multimedia, not just documentary. PBS, a lot of people don't even watch PBS, but we are coming with podcasts like TikTok, this and that, social media, a lot of students. So who is our audience? So our audience is very broad, everyone from school to college to citizen, because climate, water touches everyone. So we need to empower everyone so that they understand, starting with the school kids. So that's kind of our game plan is in this new documentary. So this is more academic. I don't know if academic people or not. We need new breed of engineer scientists. So this is what my ambition also in India is, to change the education system. I'm in discussion with UGC chairman. I know him very well. I know the past one also. So that's what I am trying to convince, that guys, we cannot do what we did for last 100 years. Things need to change. A status quo will not take us there what we want. So we need new breed of, and this came also from, it's not just my theory, this came from National Academy also, that we need. We are in the fourth revolution. If you look at the first revolution was 1700, second revolution, we are in the emergence of fourth revolution, where everything is combining, the society and all those, everyone is on WhatsApp. Now you see this, the Zoom meeting, this, everyone is comfortable with all this web meeting. So this is really, we need to think now in 21st century, what society we want to build. So I will close with the grand challenge, for mainly for research and education. They are related, they are not too different, they are two sides of the same coin. That we need to think little bit how a nation operate, built, and this for the society. It cannot be just the same story what we did for last 100 years. And AI will play a role, big data will play a role, how we integrate that for a community. So with that I will end. I know I took time, but I just wanted to give you my vision.
Thank you, Sunil. Uh, Sunil, you can stop sharing your screen if you wish, unless
Yes,
you have anything.
no, 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 I don't. I gave a
Okay.
lot. So I'm overview. I'm
Yeah, thank you. In fact, it was such a, the spectrum was so wide. I wish we had a series of lectures from you. So anyway, many things will come up during the discussion. So I'm just giving time to the audience to, for them to things to sink in and they're ready with their
sure,
queries,
sure,
questions.
sure.
So while I'll wait for the hands to be raised, I have one basic thing, Sunil,
Hmm,
and
hmm,
this was
hmm,
a takeaway for me. I'm not
hmm.
a civil engineer, you know this. I
Right,
don't
right,
have any
right,
civil
right, right.
engineering background. But the
Hmm,
one major, very interesting takeaway for me from your lecture was you
hmm,
said that the baseline for
hmm.
which the infrastructures were designed had
Right,
changed
right.
because of the climate change which is happening. Now, something
Right.
in if I talk in terms of mathematics, something which was supposed to be constant,
Mhm,
derivative was the first derivative was zero or very close to
mhm,
zero, has
mhm,
become positive, and maybe
mhm.
even the second derivative will be positive in a way.
Right,
So
right.
my question is,
Mhm,
going forward in future, because the
mhm.
baseline will continuously be
Change.
shifting,
Right,
and
right.
it will be changing at a rate much faster than it had been in the past or it has been happening in the past. So how the
Exactly.
infrastructure design has to be
Mhm.
done so that
Right.
it it becomes compatible with the change of the baseline of.
Right,
So
right.
you
Yeah,
can
that's a very good point you brought. That's what I was trying to tell. So, so,
इतना
so
ज्यादा
Sarita
ये
ma'am,
हो गया था कि
Sarita ma'am, can you kindly
sorry.
go on mute, please? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Right. So what you brought is I will not say baseline has changed, but let me tell you, it's not just climate change. There are other influencing factors also. I focused on climate change. Yes, climate change is the major influencer, but there are other factor also has changed, not at the same rate as climate, but the whole political, economic environment, this and that. So we need to consider that also. But you are right. So the baseline has changed, and now what we are seeing, that's why I mentioned intensity and frequency has also changed. And like hurricane used to come in 1 in 50 years or 100 years, that is now very frequent, and intensities has also. So you are right. So that's why our we cannot think like a linear. So we need to think the whole infrastructure and resiliency into adaptation, mitigation, all those strategy. We cannot claim that we will build a foolproof infrastructure which will not fail for 100 years. That is not possible. We cannot guarantee. No engineer can sign that, because in US engineering is also licensed profession, so judge will take that license away right away if you are signing like that. So no. So what your point is, you are right. So now we need to think a little bit different and see that how we can design this infrastructure to be more adaptable, to be more flexible, and also with time how we can change these, not building this and thinking that it will go design life says 70 years, so I don't have to care about this 70 years.
right, right. Thank you, Sunil. So I can see hands raised from the audience. Dipankar Da, can you kindly unmute yourself and ask?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Uh, th- Thank you, Professor Sinha. It was so nice to hear from you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we
sir,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Uh, I have a question which is possibly
Mhm,
related to later part of your work. I mean, the work you are getting into.
mhm, mhm.
Please consider this question coming from a student of yours. um, we're talking about water, and a lot of people
Uh-huh.
talking of water level increasing.
Right.
But I understand from whatever I studied that,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
and that relates to the number of increase in hurricanes in USA
mhm.
also,
Right.
that a big threat is coming from actually the temperature rise of the water. I know, I think that's a very key item on climate, the
Mhm, mhm.
temperature of sea water,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
ocean water.
Seawater. Right. Ocean
Yeah,
water. Right. Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I remember possibly about 5 years back, before the
Right.
election, Trump had said that
Right.
India and China are polluting USA. Now, I may or may not like Trump. Surely don't like the way he said, but I think there is a merit in what he's saying. He was saying rather. I
Right.
I
But
think
we need to be careful what these politicians say, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. But there is a merit in the sense that the
Uh-huh.
problem is not really local. The
No, no, it is not.
problem is a global one,
Exactly.
and some of the problems may be reversible.
Mhm,
Fortunately, the ozone hole people say is reducing,
mhm,
but it's taking a
mhm.
lot of time, decades.
Right, right, right.
Similarly, it will take many decades for the sea temperature level to come down.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
fortunately
No,
for us, ocean was a big sink
yeah,
for heat,
yes,
and that is
yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah.
I understand a lot of people are wondering whether dolphins and octopuses
Mhm,
will find newer ways
mhm.
to live within the ocean,
Right,
the way temperature is rising.
right, right.
So, when we increase the infrastructure within a country, it to me it sounds defensive. Uh, we need to be a little more aggressive at a global level, and I know we'll have to teach many stupids, and there are too many of
Right.
them.
Too many of them. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. I mean, somehow people like you who know a lot, um, can you start a movement to
We
teach.
right. We need a movement. Let me give you a very short. What I'm hearing from you is you are right. My also passion, and I feel the same frustration and all those. These politicians, they just talk. Very little action, and lot of what you're saying, Trump, this and that. This guy is like a snapshot, and he doesn't read. He doesn't. So I don't think he really has the real knowledge of the. But coming to your point of ocean temperature, that is very big problem, not just from hurricane point of view. The one byproduct is hurricane. If a temperature is warmer temperature, then it picks more steam, and
Also,
that's
mass
where it
extinction issue. Yeah.
right. But it's not just that. Think about that way. This, as you said, that these maybe these animals or mammals, they will find a way to survive. But what about coral reef and a lot of these habitat? They will go away because
Even more
with
than
the
that, I think cloud formation,
right,
movement of
exactly.
clouds, rain
More,
system.
rain is lot of yes, it's not just a linear one thing. So that what we need to think harder. And you are right that the infrastructure, yes, infrastructure by definition will bring more heat, but how we balance, I feel all this societal problem is a balancing act, is a trade-off, right? I mean, there's no right solution. That's what I'm realizing now. As more and more I'm getting into the societal, like how this technology, earlier I didn't care, I was just about engineering, develop a model, this. But now I'm looking at this whole from the society environment point of view. It's a balancing act. There is no right solution. So that is the biggest challenges for us, is how how we communicate, that how we can live in harmony, how we can, because it's, we have to compromise something. It's not like everyone will get what they need. Yes, India need to develop because India want, because when you talk to Indian government official, they say, Sunil, but we are not America, we still have to grow this and that. I understand that, yes, you have to grow, you have to become like a developed country, like Western country. But somehow balance has to be there, because you are polluting your air and water and all those. You also have to take care of that. And at the same time, yes, by constructing all these by concrete by definition is a heat kind of and all these, if you look at the whole life cycle of the carbon from all these construction material, it's a big massive thing. But how you convince government of India or someone to slow down or think in a little bit different way, because they feel right now that they want to become like Western country.
And we are 1/7 of the world in terms of population.
Right, right.
I mean, we,
Right. I
we,
mean, your area is very limited. I mean, everyone has to. So yeah, that will have an impact on climate. That for sure, because billion people living in a area,
yeah.
because
So I'm not saying India and China. I'm saying as a world,
as a world.
even even
Yeah,
USA included, even Russia
right.
included.
Right, but we have to be a little bit careful. What I'm learning, because I serve in a lot of US government committees and all those, people go very defensive. Even European country, when I go there, I talk about, they become very defensive that, oh, US is going to impose. So we have to be a little bit politically correct what we say. Even in India, I don't use the word like, no, US did this and this. I just try to say that, guys, there's nothing wrong in learning from other, because what I feel, I'm from India, so why I will think against India. So I
They should
feel that.
invite you back to India.
So yeah, I will be coming, because USAID India project I'm doing. So this is what I'm telling that guys. Yes, you have to build infrastructure. There's no denial in that, but think about from sustainability, resiliency point of view, because after 50 years, you don't want your kids and grandkids to face the same. What
Absolutely.
right?
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. I can see Avdesh ji has put a query in the chat about
Okay.
Sustainable Development Goals of
Hmm.
2030 by UN. So Avdesh ji, can
UN.
you unmute yourself and talk about it? Mr. Avdesh Krishna, if you are there.
So I'm
Yes.
so sorry. I joined 20 25 minutes late, but just wanted to ask because is are you also getting this involvement from the SDG 2030 initiative which
Yes.
UN has put together?
Yes. Yes, yes, I'm part of that. UN also has what they don't call disaster resilient, they call disaster risk. But yes, I'm
Risk,
part
yeah.
of. I attended actually when last year. Sorry, I was at UN last year. I met with one Indian Kamal Kishore is leading now that committee. So yes, I'm involved in SDG. Yes,
And because there are 193 countries which have signed up for
right,
this, and there's
right,
a
right,
very,
right,
very clear-cut demarcation and lots of projects
right.
running under that, and there's huge amount of fund as well.
Right,
So
right. Yeah. Yeah. The only challenge we are facing is, I mean, in all kinds of, that we come with a good framework, we come with a implementation is always a challenge and issue.
okay, now good. Thank you. That's it. That's it from my side. I'll go through your recording later
Sure,
to catch
sure,
up. Okay. Thank you very
sure.
much. Very impressive. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you, Avdesh ji. Do we have any more questions, comments from the audience? Anyone? Okay, I think uh, Sunil, people will probably like to go through the recordings when I upload it on
Right,
YouTube,
right,
and definitely I'll send the link also.
right,
And
right.
definitely there'll be more discussion points which I'll share with you.
Hmm. Sure.
But overall, it has definitely been a very, very enlightening session for all of us. And going forward, probably we may request you to have a kind of follow-up session or maybe another session, which
Hmm.
could be on one of the related topics.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
hope,
Any specific, because this was more broad view. So yes,
yes.
any kind of in your discussion and all those, if you guys feel something need to be discussed or go more in depth, I will be more than happy. Somebody else has hand raised up.
Yeah, Dr. Sarita has raised her hand.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
ma'am, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, it was very enlightening, Sunilji. I didn't know you, and but I really want to know you no more now. And I will
Yeah. No,
definitely when you come to
sure, sure,
Pittsburgh,
sure,
please call me.
sure.
And
Yeah, definitely.
it was really mind blowing to know that so much has done and being done, and we are unaware of. So really, it requires a movement that
Yes.
that everyone knows about it, because I didn't know this is what's happening in India, or even I have
Right,
awareness about the water part, but didn't know this
right,
much.
right,
And the
right.
yeah, Allegheny River I cross every day to go to work.
Right, right. So I will send you the link. Oh, watch that documentary. We covered that
Yeah,
Allegheny River. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. The Allegheny Valley River and
right, right, right,
mountain is like a
right, right,
Pittsburgh.
right. Yeah,
So,
and
and
no, no.
also,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no. What I'm saying is, it's not just Allegheny. A lot of people here may not know it's a three river
Mhm.
actually.
Yes, yeah, yes, Three River. You are right. So, so I just wanted to also let you know that I will actually forward this to my daughter, and
Sure.
she works in Honeywell, and they do
Honeywell.
tons of, yeah, Honeywell. They do all
Right,
kinds
right.
of government project and
Uh-huh.
related to environment and recycling and all that. And
Right,
she will
right.
love to get to like a, because I don't
Sure.
think she had a lecture by, because she joined in 2008,
Right.
and
I
likely you
left.
left already.
Left. Right,
Yes,
right. I
yeah.
left already. Right. Yeah.
And she loves this topic, so I will definitely let her know, and she may
Great.
contact you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, no, because that's what our job is, right? To
Hmm.
encourage young students, and now she is working, so we have to
Hmm.
somehow involve her in this movement.
Exactly. And do you know, I mean, I know I'm talking about US. There
Uh-huh.
are a lot of children who need some like a vision and support and inspiration.
Right,
And I
exactly.
think as a professor, I think the movement part is actually we should start even as a group of Indian
Right,
engineers here. So
right,
she is
right,
in a Society of Women's Engineer,
right, right.
and I
Yeah,
will, yeah, I will, and she comes for
and I,
talk.
right, and I want my son also to join because he's also big in AI now, so my son can also contribute this group.
Okay, perfect. Very good. Thank you so much for giving us this
Thank you. Yeah.
excellent topic. And also, I just read that uh, this is the like a hottest
Hottest.
year, hot
Yeah.
in 250,000 years of Earth.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so this,
We can't. Yeah. We can't live in a state of denial. This is what I'm
yeah.
telling people that no, that
Hmm.
it's a tipping point now.
Yeah, if you don't do anything, won't
Right.
have
Right.
grandchildren.
No. No. No.
They
You're
won't
right.
see long.
Right. I don't know. That's the human nature. We need to scare people now, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I won't take more time then. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Sarita ma'am. Thank you, Sarita ma'am. So there are two more hands raised, Sunil, and
Sure.
I'll go
Sure.
in that order. So
Right.
first is Prakash. Prakash, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions or comment, whatever you want to talk.
Excellent, Sunil. And first of all, congratulations for this
Sure.
USAID grant
Sure.
to India.
Right.
So we will
Thanks.
catch up.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
it was a very broad, very uh,
Right.
excellent presentation. But what I would like to suggest you that you are in a position where you can
Uh-huh.
also show us. I work in India and also I work in China when they were
Uh-huh.
growing like anything. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes this
Uh-huh.
climate change, yes, I know that because of population, India and China is contributing more to the climate
Mhm.
change and environment. But
Mhm.
sometimes it is also good to put that
Mhm.
what is the greenhouse gas emission per capita. I was
Right.
surprised to see.
Right.
I
Right.
was I
Right.
was
No.
surprised to
No.
see that
No. Yeah.
still,
Right.
yes,
It's still China and US. Right. You're
yes,
right.
yes. Well, we are nowhere, but it gives us a different type of guilt that we are damaging the environment. So I
No,
was
no.
also
Again,
uh,
right? But because no,
uh,
I don't see that way. No, I don't see that way because you see the blame game. This is what I'm telling
yes,
all over the world that we shouldn't be doing blame game because I mean think about from Indian perspective. If I'm living in India, why I don't want to grow and become like a US and other Western country because that's my opportunity. So I should. Nobody should deny me that opportunity. The only thing what I'm trying to tell here is that balancing act, right? It's all about
yes.
balancing act. So how we can learn from other countries or from even US, right? US also made a mistake. They brought in 1990. Before 1990, the whole culture was just run to fail, operate, and time comes when this infrastructure fails and build back again.
No, that's good. But I was very sad to see. I was seeing the data of last year.
Right, right.
In Europe and North America, still the
Uh-huh.
per usage GHG emission is going high. Still, they have not understood it.
Uh,
People are going
uh,
for their own jet and
right,
all that. So
right,
that
right, right.
set topic was
Personal,
being a
right.
leader of developed
Right, right.
country.
Because no,
You, you,
I will tell you, right. You are right in a way. But China is also, if you look at that, not India, but China is also coming at the same level. Yeah.
okay. So that's all. That's all. So it
Sure,
will
sure.
always good at the end if you show us that in per cap because for the climate change,
Mhm.
every single person has to be responsible, has to be accountable.
I
In that
agree.
case,
I
if
agree.
you show
Right,
that, then
right,
it will
right,
be
right,
helpful and also open
right,
their eye.
right,
Thank you,
right.
Sunil,
No,
once
right.
again.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Prakash. I will touch base with you anyway.
Thank you, Prakash. Very, very pertinent questions. Dr. Jha, sir, I know you have been waiting for some time, so over to you.
Looks pretty good for 6. I can wait for hours on end. First of all, uh, I must congratulate Professor Sinha for an excellent talk this evening. I was only vaguely aware of the problems that we are facing right now, eh, and the likely scenario in future. My concerns are basically limited to India.
Uh-huh.
In the quest to reach the levels of development in infrastructure center, in infrastructure sector at par with USA, we are probably damaging the future prospects of our next generation and the generation next. Two examples, simple. I am worried about Uttarakhand crumbling. And if you have tornadoes and hurricanes
Yeah,
twice in a year instead
yeah,
of
in
once in
March,
50 years,
I visited in March Uttarakhand, Roorkee, and a beautiful place. I mean,
The
yeah.
Joshi, and just in continuity, I would say, of the development policies, we are now in the process of ruining and spoiling Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir as well. And in the process, we are damaging some, I mean, wonderful creations of our ancient forefathers, which should have been left for the posterity to admire and see. The rock art of Ladakh, that's gone in the blast that took 2 days back. And we have a heat wave this year in Jammu and Kashmir.
I know, yeah.
And not even 4% of cultivable land in Jharkhand. Here we call it ropa. Dhan dhan ki ropni nahi hui hai for lack of rain. And Assam is reeling under floods. So we are all complicating. Some problems have been there for years together. Even in post-independent India, no permanent solution has been found. But what are we doing right now? Not achieving much except for photo ops and for the simple purpose of telling people that now, see, we are making these areas which were difficult to negotiate easily accessible. In the process, we are simply ruining our heritage. That is my concern, and it is all picture which in not in isolation. Water, temperature, polluted air. It's all together. All together. That is my concern. Your talk, of course, broadened my vision and understanding of the problem. But I am still at a loss. Yes, starting a movement, we mooted that idea. Let's see if it can take us safe in future. But I'm really concerned and worried.
Right, but no, I agree. I 100% agree with you. What you are so this is what I will suggest. That first is like any again going back to the medical. First, we need to understand the problem. If we are not understanding the problem, then a lot of these politicians and all those they twist the whole story. So it's very important that we understand the full scope of the problem. What is it before coming to the solution? Right. So that is my attitude. Is that no? The other is just like I mentioned, we cannot stop India. That's not fair of any country, not just India, any country, because the opportunity is there. Yes, they also have to. Everyone need to grow. Everyone need to prosper, right? So that is the human nature. So I'm not denying that fact, and that, but where is the balancing act and where is the trade-off? That I feel as an Indian, me including as an Indian, I still have a OIC, so I claim myself as an Indian. So we have to sit together and not be selfish. I feel human beings are very selfish. We always see from a very selfish interest. Yes, we want road, we want bridge, we want this, we, all the time we. But what about, just like you said, the natural environment, the other species, endangered species? So we just need to sit together and try to compromise, because there will be a compromise. Without that, no solution can be achieved. There is no one bullet, silver bullet that, okay, let's do this. I don't think so. It's all about trade-off, compromise, balancing act. And I think India has to do some soul searching because they are growing. There is no denial, and they should, but at what pace and at what cost?
Thank you, Professor Sinha. But yes, the key words should be having a balance in everything that we are trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because there is no silver bullet. I will tell you that if somebody comes and tell you this is the only way, they are lying, or they may be misguiding us.
Thank you. Dipankarda, do you have anything to talk? You can unmute yourself. I
Just
see
one
your hand
short
raised.
question. Just one short question. Professor Sinha, since you travel also and of course read a lot, What is the worldwide awareness level in terms of countries about that we might have crossed the tipping line?
I will tell you this. Nobody wants to, again, this is the challenge I'm facing with a lot of countries and all those when I go. Nobody is honest and very fair in their assessment, including US also. I mean, although we are trying here to come with that where we are and what we should forward path will be, but most of these assessment, when you say the assessment, including World Bank or United Nations and all those, there is always a loophole in this kind of assessment. It's not, I will not say these are holistic assessment, which gives us a really good understanding where each of the country, because these are not just an engineering kind of analysis. There is a political dimension to it, social dimension to it. So there are many dimensions to these kind of, because you are talking about like any country, the moment you try to bring that, oh, this country is low or this, then it changes into political environment very fast. So what I will say right now is that we don't have a really good, even if somebody have, nobody is going to believe
So it is poor, basically.
that.
Poor and
Yeah,
possibly a little manipulated because of political pressures.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. I think
Sunil, one small question, one small point here is that SDG, the United Nations actually publishes year on
Mhm.
year the ranking of each
Right,
country contribution in the SDG 2030 goals. And that's out there in public domain. I'll share the
right,
link later.
right.
That probably is the only, authentic data
So
that I've seen so
yeah,
far.
yeah, I
But
agree.
having said that, you're right, Professor. Um, there are political dimensions and other dimensions too, but this is the most widely accepted one
I
that I've
agree.
come
I
across.
agree. Yeah, I agree. That's a good to refer. Yes, I 100% agree with you.
thank you, Avdeshji. And Sunil, once again, thanks a lot. And in fact,
Thank you. Yeah.
what you mentioned in
Mhm.
response to the Pankarda's point, that it is a multidimensional problem, not only science, technology, engineering,
Right.
politics,
Right.
but I will add one
Right.
more dimension. In India, it is really religion also.
Oh,
Religion is
really?
adding a
Uh,
lot to the damage to the environment. And my friends in India know about it.
oh,
So
really?
anyway, uh,
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah.
uh, yeah, and they will understand the places I'm talking of, why I'm talking
Right.
of
Right.
religion. They also
Uh-huh.
understand why I'm talking of religion.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway,
Right.
Sunil,
Right.
I will not stretch it
Right.
along. Thank you
Right.
so much. It was really very enlightening, and
Great.
really privileged and honored to host you on this in this forum, and look forward
Yeah.
to talk to you again.
Sure.
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Definitely.
Have a
Thanks.
good day.
Thanks, everyone. It's nice meeting with all of you. It's really good to meet with new people, catch up, and then whatever way I can contribute. I have reached a stage in my career that I just think about societal impact all the time.
Thank you.
So
Just
Thank you
one
so
thank
much.
you.
question. I mean, this
Yeah.
is Arun Roy. Ashutosh,
Mhm.
with your permission,
No, please go
maybe,
ahead, sir. I was about to
yeah.
stop recording, but please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. That is still better. Actually, this session for me, my take home was basically on that water management at
Uh-huh.
8.15 minutes. I would need to, of course, go through that slide to understand.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Otherwise, I thought it was the session more addressed to the policymakers. As a listener, I thought this question was more addressed to the policymakers, but that was perhaps your purpose. The one take home, I will have to study your slide much better to talk, to understand about water
Sure.
conservation. Point number two.
Sure.
Sunil, please allow me to say that
Uh-huh.
it is not that we are not aware. It is not that we do not know the problem. We know most of the problems we know in India, we know.
Right.
We know, I
Right.
mean, 10 years back, your friend in Toronto had written a paper on the damage which these LSDs are doing to the country. What
Uh-huh.
about when the
Uh-huh.
lifetime gets over? The total destruction of the environment is around 160 times more.
Oh.
He had, presented the paper to the government. We are
Okay.
all knowing what is happening in Joshimath. We all know why should the constructions in Uttarakhand not happen. We know why, as religion was mentioned, 35,000 trees should not be cut only for the road made for the Kamadiyas. We all know that in Chhattisgarh, around 10 years back, there were lakhs of hectares of green forest, and today it is zero. So it is not that we are not aware of the problem, so that we have to first be aware of the problem and then find the solution. Most of the problems we are aware of. So as a policy maker, as having such a some kind of a strong hand, I would not use the word, but a leverage. What will you do to tell the government of India right now that these things should not be done? Answer my question, please.
No, right. So that's why I took this project USAID. I showed in that one because I thought that just by talking to them and calling them, this will not. So that's the reason why I went after USAID, because usually going after USAID project is not a typical research project. I will tell you, I knew that this will take a lot of my effort, time, and all those, because this is not just for India but developing country. But I felt that this is the best way I can get in. And then because this is came from PM Modi and Biden administration, so there is all government officials are involved, they come in the meeting. So that's the reason why I took the USAID. Again, we need to understand, yes, a lot of people understand the problem, may not be the full dimension of the problem, because a lot of these problems are not linear in a way. There are many aspects to it. From engineering, we see this as a one way, but social scientists, environmentalists, they see in a different way. So this project will help me. Maybe this is my wishes that in 5 years that can change. So already I'm seeing changes coming, because the way I'm talking to IIT Kanpur, IIT Roorkee, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore, they are already saying that, Sunil, we will start with a training program or new courses in these what I talked. Basically what I talked is they all know my philosophy is the same. I haven't changed any philosophy. So that's what I'm doing. I will do my best to convey these to the government officials, but also we need to understand governments is the reflection of the people. India is a democratic country. So somehow if we can get these students, the workforce, these all IIT professors, and then bit by bit, it will make a difference. That's my hope is.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ashutosh, please take it over.
Sunil. Yeah, Sunil, one last request before I stop the recording or close the session. Kindly forward me all those links for the documentary and
Sure,
other
I will.
references that you.
I will.
So I'll share it in our group so that people
Okay.
can
Right.
watch that.
Right.
So
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.